Act 2, Scene 15. Harry and Ginny Potter's house, kitchen. Harry and Draco sit far apart. Ginny stands between them. Draco, sorry about your kitchen, Ginny. Ginny, oh, it's not my kitchen. Harry does most of the cooking. That's kind of weird. I mean, well, I guess he had practice with the Dursleys. He, cooked the bacon and stuff for them. But anyway. Draco, I can't talk to him either. Scorpius, especially since Astoria has gone. I can't even talk about how losing her has affected him. As hard as I try, I can't reach him. You can't talk to Albus. I can't talk to Scorpius. That's what this is about. Not about my son being evil. Because as much as you might like to take the word of a haughty centaur, you know the power of friendship. Harry, Draco, whatever you may think. Draco, I always envied them, you know. Weasley and Granger. I had Ginny, Crabbe and Goyle. Draco, two lungs who wouldn't know one end of a broomstick from another. You, the three of you shone, you know? You liked each other. You had fun. I envied you those friendships more than anything else. Ginny, I envied them too. Harry looks at Ginny, surprised. Yeah, I'm a little surprised too because she had friends. There were times, I think when Harry first started liking Ginny, and before he even realized it, that he wanted to hang out with her, but she was hanging out with her other friends. So, okay, anyway. Harry, I need to protect him. Draco, my father thought he was protecting me most of the time. I think you have to make a choice at a certain point of the man you want to be. And I tell you that at that time you need a parent or a friend. And if you've learned to hate your parent by then and you have no friends, then you're all alone. And being alone, I've never thought about that. I don't know. I mean, I felt for Draco, especially in 6, and I really liked how they did it in the movie. In the movie they showed more of him, because obviously the books are just, from Harry's perspective, but, the movie was able to show his struggles. And I mean, well, it was kind of it's a little hard to feel sorry for him when he almost killed Ron, but at the same time, I mean, the pressures he's under. He wasn't, I'm not going to pretend that he cared about, killing Ron so much, but he, it would have been, he would have had a problem with it. If Ron had actually died, he would have pretended not to feel guilty, but he would have felt guilty. It would not have been good for him. He wasn't, I mean, yes, in the beginning he was excited, but as it went on, as he began to realize what exactly was going on. So in that time I felt for him, but I've never really thought of him as being alone before. I mean, I knew, yes, he had Crabbe and Goyle, and I knew that they could not be the kind of friends and support for him that Ron and Hermione were for Harry. But, he always put up such a good front. I never really thought that he must be lonely. And now that puts a different perspective on things, and I like that. And being alone, that's so hard. I was alone, and it sent me to a truly dark place. For a long time, Tom Riddle was also a lonely child. You may not understand that, Harry, but I do, and I think Ginny does too. Ginny, he's right. Draco, Tom Riddle didn't emerge from his dark place, and so Tom Riddle became Lord Voldemort. Maybe the black cloud Bane saw was Albus's loneliness, his pain, his hatred. Don't lose the boy, you'll regret it, and so will he, because he needs you, and Scorpius, whether or not he now knows it. Harry looks at Draco, he thinks. He opens his mouth to speak, he thinks. Ginny, Harry, will you get the flu powder, or shall I? Harry looks up at his wife. Act 2, Scene 16. Hogwarts Library. Scorpius arrives in the library, he looks left and right, and then he sees Albus, and Albus sees him. Scorpius, hi. Albus, Scorpius, I can't. Scorpius, I know, you're in Gryffindor now. You don't want to see me now. But here I am anyway, talking to you. Albus, well, I can't talk, so... Scorpius, you have to. You think you can just ignore everything that's happened? The world has gone crazy, have you noticed? Albus, I know, okay? Ron's gone strange, Hermione's a professor, it's all wrong, but... Scorpius, and Rose doesn't exist. Albus, I know. Look, I don't understand everything, but you can't be here. Scorpius, because of what we did, Rose wasn't even born. Do you remember being told about the Triwizard Tournament Yule Ball? All the 4 champions took a partner. Your dad took Parvati Patil, Victor Crumb took, Albus, Hermione, and Ron got jealous and behaved like a prat. Scorpius, only he didn't. I found Rita Skeeter's book about them, and it's very different. Ron took Hermione to the ball. Ooh, that's so cool. Albus, what? Polly Chapman, shh. Scorpius looks at Polly and drops his volume. Scorpius, as friends. And they danced in a friendly way, and it was nice, and then he danced with Padma Patil, and that was nicer. And they started dating, and he changed a bit, and then they got married, and meanwhile Hermione became a, Albus, psychopath. Scorpius, Hermione was supposed to go to that ball with Crumb. Do you know why she didn't? Because she had suspicions the 2 strange Durmstrang boys she met before the first task were somehow involved in the disappearance of Cedric's wand. She believed we, under Victor's orders, cost Cedric the first task. Oh wow, that's so cool. That makes so much sense. Albus, wow. Scorpius, and without Crumb, Ron never got jealous, and that jealousy was all important. And so Ron and Hermione stayed very good friends, but never fell in love, never got married, never had Rose. Albus, so that's why Dad's so... Did he change too? Scorpius, I'm pretty sure your dad is exactly the same. Head of magical law enforcement, married to Ginny, 3 kids. Albus, so why is he being such a... A librarian enters at the back of the room. Scorpius, have you heard me, Albus? This is bigger than you and your dad. Professor Croker's law, the furthest someone can go back in time without the possibility of serious harm to the traveler or time itself is 5 hours. And we went back years. The smallest moment, the smallest change, it creates ripples. And we've created really bad ripples. Rose was never born because of what we did. Rose. Quit being obsessed with Rose. Librarian, shh. Albus thinks quickly. Albus, fine, let's go back, fix it. Get Cedric and Rose back. Scorpius, is the wrong answer. Albus, you still got the time turner, right? No one found it? Scorpius takes it out of his pocket. Scorpius, yes, but... Albus snatches it from his hand. No, don't, Albus. Don't you understand how bad things could get? Scorpius grabs for the time turner. Albus pushes him back. They wrestle inexpertly. Albus, things need fixing, Scorpius. Cedric still needs saving. Rose needs bringing back. We'll be more careful. Whatever Croker says, trust me, trust us. We'll get it right this time. Scorpius, no, we won't. Give it back, Albus, give it back. Albus, I can't. This is too important. Scorpius, yes, it's too important. For us. We're not good at this stuff. We'll get it wrong. Albus, who's saying that we'll get it wrong? Scorpius, I say, because that's what we do. We mess things up. We lose. We're losers. True and total losers. Haven't you realized that yet? Albus finally gets the upper hand and pins Scorpius to the ground. Albus, well, I wasn't a loser before I met you. Scorpius, Albus, whatever you've got to prove to your dad, this isn't the way. Albus, I don't have anything to prove to my dad. I've got to save Cedric to save Rose. And maybe, without you holding me back, I can make a proper go of it. Scorpius, without me? Oh, poor Albus Potter with his chip on his shoulder. Poor Albus Potter, so sad. Albus, what are you saying? Scorpius, exploding. Try my life. People look at you because your dad's the famous Harry Potter, savior of the wizarding world. People look at me because they think my dad is Voldemort. Voldemort. Albus, don't even... Scorpius, can you even slightly imagine what that's like? Have you ever even tried? No, because you can't see beyond the end of your nose, because you can't see beyond the end of your stupid thing with your dad. He will always be Harry Potter. You know that, right? And you will always be his son. And I know it's hard and the other kids are awful, but you have to learn to be okay with that because there are worse things, okay? Beep. There was a moment I was excited. When I realized time was different, a moment when I thought maybe my mom hadn't got sick, maybe my mom wasn't dead. But no, turns out she was. I'm still the child of Voldemort, without a mother, giving sympathy to the boy who doesn't ever give anything back. So I'm sorry if I've ruined your life, because I tell you, you wouldn't have a chance of ruining mine. It was already ruined. You just didn't make it better, because you're the most terrible friend. Albus digests this. He sees what he's done to his friend. Professor McGonagall, from off. Albus Potter, Scorpius Malfoy, are you in there together? Because I advise you not to be. Albus looks at Scorpius. He pulls a cloak from his bag. Albus, quick, we need to hide. Scorpius, what? Albus, Scorpius, look at me. Scorpius, that's the invisibility cloak. Isn't it James's? Albus, if she finds us, we'll be forced apart forever. Please. I didn't understand. Please. Professor McGonagall, from off, trying to give them every chance. I am about to enter. Professor McGonagall comes into the room, the Marauder's map in her hands. The boys disappear beneath the cloak. She looks around, exasperated. Well, where have they... I never wanted this thing, and now it's playing tricks on me. She's smart. She knows what's going on. Oh, there we go. She thinks. She looks back at the map. She identifies where they should be. She looks around the room. Objects move as the boys invisibly move past them. She sees where they're heading. She makes to block them, but they skirt around her. Unless your father's cloak. Oh, I love her. She looks back at the map. She looks at the boys. She smiles to herself. Well, if I didn't see you, I didn't see you. She exits. The two boys remove the cloak. They sit in silence for a moment. Albus. Yes, I stole this from James. He's remarkably easy to steal from. His trunk combination is the date he got his first broom. I found the cloak made avoiding bullies easier. Scorpius nods. I'm sorry about your mom. I know we don't talk about her enough, but I hope you know I'm sorry. It's rubbish. What happened to her? To you. Scorpius. Thanks. Albus. My dad said that you were this dark cloud around me. My dad started to think, and I just knew I had to stay away, and if I didn't, Dad said he would. Scorpius. Your dad thinks the rumors are true? I am the son of Voldemort? Albus nods. His department are currently investigating it. Scorpius. Good. Let them. Sometimes I find myself thinking maybe they're true too. Albus. No, they're not true, and I'll tell you why. Because I don't think Voldemort is capable of having a kind son. And you're kind, Scorpius, to the depths of your belly, to the tips of your fingers. I truly believe Voldemort couldn't have a child like you. B. Scorpius is moved by this. Scorpius. That's nice. That's a nice thing to say. Albus. And it's something I should have said a long time ago. In fact, you're probably the best person I know, and you couldn't hold me back. You make me stronger, and when Dad forced us apart, without you... Scorpius. I didn't much like my life without you in it either. Albus. And I know I'll always be Harry Potter's son, and I will sort that out in my head, and I know compared to you, my life is pretty good, really, and that he and I are comparatively lucky, and... Scorpius, interrupting. Albus, as apologies go, this is wonderfully fulsome, but you're starting to talk more about you than me again, so it's probably better to quit while you're ahead. Albus smiles and stretches out a hand. Albus. Friends, Scorpius, always. Scorpius extends his hand. Albus pulls Scorpius up into a hug. Still Scorpius. That's the second time you've done that. The two boys break apart and smile. Albus. But I'm pleased we had this argument because it's given me a really good idea. Scorpius. About what? Albus. It involves the second task and humiliation. Scorpius. You're still talking about going back in time? Have we been having the same conversation? Albus. You're right. We are losers. We're brilliant at losing, and so we should be using our own knowledge here, our own powers. Losers are taught to be losers. There's only one way to teach a loser, and we know that better than anyone. Humiliation. We need to humiliate him. So in the second task, that's what we'll do. Scorpius thinks for a long time and then smiles. Scorpius, that's a really good strategy. Albus, I know. Scorpius, I mean, quite spectacular. Humiliate Cedric to save Cedric? Clever. And Rose? Albus, that I'm saving as a sparkly surprise. I can do it without you, but I want you there, because I want us to do this together, set things right together. So, will you come? Scorpius, but just a minute, the second task took place in the lake, and you're not allowed to leave the school building. Albus grins. Yes, about that. We need to find the girls' bathroom on the first floor.